Hey guys! Not sure if anyone's around to jump on, but I thought I would pop on here this morning. It's been a little while since I've come on Facebook Live on here. And I wanted to talk about the difference between being in a moment and being in the moment, and what the difference is and why there's a really important distinction between the two. So lately I've been tapping more and more and more into the joy that already exists in every moment, and it feels really good, and as a result I've been really enjoying my life, the life that I already have. I've been able to feel all those things that we talk about, gratitude and abundance and all of that kind of thing. Hang on, Nav. But sometimes we go through phases in our life where it's difficult. Okay, hang on, honey. Where it's difficult to tap into that. No, not right now, honey. Okay, just wait. You want to come and make this video with me? Come and sit down here. Where it's difficult to tap into those feelings, and I want to share my thoughts on why I think that is. I'm just going to turn off Sesame Street. Do you guys want to come outside for a bit? We can do painting afterwards. Let's just make this little video and have a play. So, there's an important distinction between just being in a situation physically, so you just find yourself in your house, or you find yourself reading your kids a bedtime story, or whatever it is, whatever your situation is that's happening presently at this point in time. So that's the situation that you're in, or the circumstance that you're in. So there's a difference between just being in that situation, which is being in a moment, it's just where you find yourself physically, and being in the moment, which is being engaged and present in that moment. So to use the example of reading your kids a story, it's a very, very different feeling and a very different experience of that same task, whether you are just being in a moment or if you're being in the moment. And the difference is this. So, you know, if you're being in a moment, you might be going through the motions, reading your kids a story, you know, reading the words, not really even thinking about what's happening. Maybe your mind is off somewhere else, you're otherwise engaged, thinking about, you know, just go to sleep so I can have some time to myself, or I need to get online and pay that bill, or I need to whatever. And we still have those thoughts, even if we are speaking something else. Sometimes we, you know, so we're not really there, if that makes sense. We're otherwise engaged. And so what that looks like then is that the story is probably really flat. Spider. Okay, we'll just leave it there, honey. It won't hurt you. You know, it's probably not a very enjoyable experience. Maybe we skip a few pages. We're just kind of getting it done to get it out of the way so that our kids will go to bed and we can get to the next moment. And so that's one experience of that situation. There's another experience available if we can be present in that moment, if we can be in the moment. And what I mean by that is if we accept or commit to that this is the moment we're in and we are going to be engaged. It's a choice, and it comes with practice, because sometimes we forget. But with practice, we start to remember more and more to be present. And so then what that experience looks like is that we are there reading our children a story. And what's the purpose of, you know, for this example, reading our children a story? Well, you know, it's unwinding before bed, it's connecting with our kids, it's teaching them something, and it's a form of entertainment and enjoyment and joy that we're, you know, providing for them and for us. So then what that experience looks like is that, you know, the words come to life out of our mouth. You know, we are excited about the story as well, you know, even if it's a kid's story. You know, it's a totally different experience. We're watching our kids, we're seeing how the words are landing with them. We're seeing their eyes light up, we're noticing like who they are as people. We are, you know, we maybe even find something funny, or, you know, it's just an enjoyable thing, and we're not thinking about the next moment hoping that time will pass quicker. We're able to be there, fully engaged and present, and enjoying that moment for what it is. And especially with kids, but with anything in life, like life is just, it just keeps going. And especially with your children, they don't get any younger. You don't get these moments back again. And sometimes, you know, even if you are a stay-at-home mum who is physically present with your kids, that doesn't mean that it is any easier to always be mentally, emotionally, actually present and engaged and in the moment with them. You know, it's about quality and not quantity. If you're just existing in the same place as your kids, for example, it doesn't mean that you know them. It doesn't mean that you are connecting. It doesn't mean that you're enjoying them and them you. So if you can imagine their experience of that situation, reading the bedtime story, one where you are just trying to go through the motions, get it out of the way so that they'll go to bed and you can have time on your own, and imagining what that story would be like, as opposed to the other situation where you are there and you're excited and you're so happy to be spending that time with them and you're paying attention and you're just there. You know, the difference of when someone is fully present with you in a moment and when they're not, you can feel it and it alters your experience of that moment too. So another situation, if you don't have kids and you can't relate to that, might be when you're just talking to someone, or maybe someone's telling you something, and it's a very different experience of whether you are standing there. You know, how many times have we been talking to someone and we're, you know, nodding and we're there, but when we're in our mind, we're thinking about what we're going to say next, or we're even thinking about something totally different to what they're saying. But physically, we're in a moment, but we're not in the moment with them. We're not really there with them. So that's a very different experience as well. And you can feel that when someone isn't present with you, when they're not really there with you, and they feel vacant, you can definitely feel it. So, and it's such a beautiful thing when you come across someone who is present with you, who's really there with you, engaged in that moment with you, showing up, you know, committing to being in that moment with you. And, you know, we all know you know, this is the only moment that we have, this is the only moment that is real, nothing else is guaranteed. But more than that, you know, that is like, oh, well, I better be in the moment because, no, this is where the joy is. The difference between feeling like you're in your life but you can't connect to it, like there's a glass wall between you and your life. Like you can see there's beauty in the world but you can't feel it. You can't appreciate things. You just can't seem to, if you're not feeling moments of joy in your day, I invite you to try and practice being present in the moments that you're already having, because inherently in every moment there is the joy, there is love, there is awe. You know, when we go traveling, here's another example, we get to a new place and all we can see is the beauty and the awe in nature and in architecture and in the people, and isn't everything so interesting, and doesn't the food taste amazing? Because we're present, we're engaged, we come to that situation with the expectation that this is going to be something amazing, and so we show up fully in that moment for it, with that intention, and we're present, and so we're able to tap into all those feelings, and that's why it feels so amazing to travel to somewhere new, because we're present in those moments. But that place isn't any better than this place right here that you are in right now. The only difference is that the intention that you are bringing to this moment is not of awe and excitement and whatever. It's of that this is what you do every day and you've seen this place a million times or whatever. So if you could, I invite you to bring to this day fresh eyes. You know, right now I'm standing in my backyard and, you know, I'll show you, like we're back onto bushland and it's incredibly beautiful. And I remember when I first moved here, I used to stand out here and just think, wow, it's so peaceful, and I can hear the birds and the cicadas, and it's very, very peaceful and beautiful. But how many times do I come out here to hang out the washing or whatever it may be and just not even notice that anymore? But if I come to this moment with the intention of awe and like, wow, notice how green the trees look. and notice how blue the sky looks against it, and notice the sounds, and you know, actually just being present in the moment rather than just being in the moment that I find myself in. I start to tap into that feeling of awe and wonder and just like peace in my soul of like, wow, like this world that we live in is so beautiful and so amazing. And then all those feelings of gratitude and joy and all comes flooding back in. But if I'm just out here hanging the washing, rah, 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 in my head, that's the killer. In my head thinking about rah, 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 or whatever, that I'm doing something I don't really want to be doing. So hopefully that makes sense. So today, if you watch this video, for the rest of the day, I invite you, just bring those fresh eyes back in. Come to each moment that you remember to with a commitment to being present, with a commitment to enjoying. How would I act if I were in this situation for the first time? What level of interest would I have if I knew this was the last story I was ever going to read my children? It'd be a pretty different story, and, you know, one day it will be, and you might not know beforehand. So not as like a threat to scare you into doing it, but if you do it, you will start to tap into the joy that is in all of those ordinary, everyday, little thing moments. It's already there waiting for you. Doesn't mean that you can't change those circumstances and situations to create more of what you love and more of just growing more into what you love. But we're changing from a place of love and not fear, and it's a very different feeling. So happy Friday for my working peeps, last day of the week before the weekend. But, you know, still, even if you are racing towards the weekend, you're excited for the weekend or whatever it may be, still try and be present in the moment that you're in, because right now, this present moment is the only thing that you have. And you'll miss your whole life by waiting for the next moment. So I'm going to duck off now and enjoy the moment that I'm in, and I will speak to you guys again another day. Bye.